Hi there, that's right, great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch, back on the camera yet again. Hi there, how's it going? Right, I'm going to go kind of like back onto my initial or original train of thought or track of theme for my videos here. And I'm going to talk about basically a tarot reading and what it is. Now, in a very basic way, a tarot reading is just like a story, okay? But it's not a story about a fictional person, it's a piece of fiction about a real person. And the real person is basically you. You as in the client, the inquirer, or whatever. So when the cards are laid out on the table, they tell a story. Or rather, they are indicators of certain things which could possibly be in a story. The reader then takes into account the question that the inquirer has asked. He takes into account his knowledge of these life situations and then creates the story and then tells that story to the client. That's at the most basic level. And now, obviously, a tarot reading is an entertainment service, but it has some kind of therapeutic component to it as well. The therapeutic component depends upon the skill of the therapist, which in this case will be the reader, and it will not be purely dependent upon the reading or indeed the story within the reading. But what I'll do is just very quickly demonstrate what a hypothetical, let's say, relationship reading would be like. Alright? Relationship questions are about like, I know, 80 or 90% of all the questions are relationship orientated. So I shuffle the cards, it's the Book of Thoth Tarot, and I'm just going to do a spread. And hopefully you will be able to see the cards as well as to see me talking if I've got the technological side of this done correctly. Here we go. Here's the cards. So we've got an inquirer who's asking about their relationship and how it's going to work out in the future. So I'm going to do 2 cards for the inquirer, 2 cards for the other person, 1 for what I call the forces in between, which could be the nature of the relationship or something like that. And I'm just going to do another 3 cards for the short-term, mid-term, and long-term future. Now, from the outset, as you can see, on the left-hand side of the screen, hopefully you can see it. If everything's working out according to plan, the reading should be just down there. The left-hand side of the screen, that's the client's cards. We got signs there relating to stability in the form of a suit from the earth, you know, the suit of coins that relates to the earth. That's stability. That's to do with financial stability as well. There can be a loving message associated with that, and there's also a sense of there being a sense of mutual agreement. There's signs there which is called peace, but that's the crossed swords image. It's the 2 of swords, and of course on a map, crossed swords also means a battle. So essentially this person is now in a state of peace and tranquility and stability after what appears to be a bit of a conflict. Then we move over to the other side of the reading and we see what's there for the partner's side of things. Alright, we got cards there which is labeled swiftness, but also there's plenty of signs there relating to healing, such as the mercurial symbol in the corner, the rainbow talking about peace coming after conflict. Very similar meaning to the cards we had on the inquirer's side of things. Essentially a sense of now being in a state of peace after difficulty, but what we have on the partner's side of things rather than the inquirer's side of things is much more of a healing aspect there. But there's also something rather depressive when we have signs relating to futility, which comes in the 7 of Swords, okay? So I would say that this is a stable individual who's trying to build a relationship with someone, but the person they're trying to build a relationship with is not only still suffering from issues from the past, but feels it could be futile or possibly impossible to get over those issues. Now, moving on into the short-term, mid-term, and long-term future, which is the extra 3 cards, okay, because it's 5 cards for the main body of the reading, 2 for the inquirer, 2 for the inquirer's partner, 1 defining the forces between, and then short-term, mid-term, and long-term future being the 3 cards which I put out to the side there. Let's quickly have a look at the forces between, because that's also rather important, because that's the 3 of Swords, and it talks of sorrow. Now, the number 3 doesn't always mean bad things. And of course, the meaning of all this symbolism depends upon your own theology or your own ideas about what numbers and colors and symbols and the suits mean, and the imagery from the major arcana. The major arcana symbolism is in fact very biblical. There's plenty of signs which relates to things in the New Testament, in the book of Revelations, and so on and so forth. Alright, but the forces between is talking about sorrow. So this is a relationship which is not working out well. We've had a look at a sense of conflict on the inquirer's side, conflict without the desire for recovery or the fear of recovery on the inquirer's partner side of things. So there are issues here which are not being discussed, despite the fact that we've got communication signs here. Swords can sometimes be associated with the elements of air. Air refers to birds, flights, communication, and that sort of thing. So essentially we should be seeing a sense of progress, but we're not, because the colors are all very dark and gloomy. So the situation in the here and now is pretty shit, to be quite frank. But when we look at short-term, mid-term, and long-term future, we got different colors, different energies, and different associations coming through in that part of the spread. So, what do we have there? Within the short-term future side of things, we've got a cup suit card. The suit of cups is similar to the suit of hearts in a regular pack of playing cards. That talks about love. It appears that something is going to happen within the next 3-month period between these two people, which is not going to be all that bad. So from this situation of stagnancy and sorrow and all the rest of that that's here in this particular part of the reading, we can now see in the short term that there's a sense of there being some variety of progress, which is a good thing, alright? But it's a bit up and down, because after that we got darker, more gloomy signs. The card is labeled worry and anxiety. So it's labeled worry, it can mean anxiety. And so there's a bit of stress surrounding your midterm future in this particular reading, which suggests that things are going to improve nicely, then they're going to drop off. It's going to get pretty bad after about between 3 and 6 months maybe, but there's a sense of recovery after that, because finally we got signs relating to abundance and stability. Alright, now if I was to expand the reading by one more card further forward, it's quite intriguing, because we've got this one's the Queen of Swords. I don't always associate this as being a good card or a good sign, so to speak, because there is like a resentful image there, because the character in the card is someone who appears to have just decapitated somebody and is holding the head. So there is a sense of a woman having victory over a man one way or another. Could be the old bunny boiler mentality, but in this particular case maybe there's actually something pleasant about this and pleasurable. It's right next to the signs relating to abundance and a great sense of love. So I would say that this is the woman taking control of the relationship, and her character and her spirit, so to speak, really waking up to the fact that they've got some potentials. So these issues which have held her back, these issues which have held him back, they are being dealt with during these this increase in love, this worry and sorrow period, and then following by that peak of abundance, and then this sense of the woman taking control. Alright, she's not literally cutting his head off, but what she could be doing in this particular case is being the person who's in control. So if this was your reading, it would not be a bad reading at all. Despite the fact we got sorrow, we got gloomy stuff, the progress is actually looking good. Bit of a rocky road, but that's what you can expect with some varieties of readings. That's what it's all about. It gives you a good reading, gives you the opportunity to reflect upon your life. Some of the best fiction in the whole wide world is designed so that you can actually have a bit of reflection upon your life as well. Alright, but this is done live, it's done purely for you as the inquirer, and therefore it's probably one of the greatest forms of entertainment on the face of the planet, and well worthwhile for anyone to spend their dollars upon. Okay, so I'll leave you with those thoughts for the moment. You can see how I can interpret the cards, how I can present the story of the cards to you as an inquirer. If you want to have a reading with me, go to the sidebar, click on the website, nickdutch.co.uk, scroll down to the tarot bit. I know it's a terrible looking website, but don't worry about that. And if you click on tarot at the top, it'll take you down to a page where you can then go for the readings. Text chat, 99 cents a minute currently, and telephone is still 80 cents a minute if you're in the US, and 95 5 cents, I think it is, if you're in the UK, and that's permanent. Alright, so that's given you the overview. I hope that's made sense. Speak to you in a while. Good fortune, God and or goddess, and or none of the above bless. Nick Dutch signing out for now. Bye for now.